the so-called homelessness crisis is, at one level, a crisis of meaning. And it's a crisis of opportunity in some cases to some degree, but addiction, both to street drugs and to legal drugs that have been prescribed and then sometimes also sold as street drugs and sometimes just prescribed. And also mental illness, which often is the result of early developmental issues, which may have to do with early prescription drugs. Combine into, and this is something that Schellenberger talks about a lot in San Francisco. San Francisco is the name of his excellent book. I'm not quite done with it yet, but I don't agree with all of it, but he makes his point carefully and very well, many of his points, and it is the point in part is the idea that you just have to let people do what they're doing on the street is actually not a kindness. That's not humane. That's not progressive. It's not compassionate. There is nothing nice about that. And no, we're not just talking about the rich homeowners whose streets have tents on them. It's for the people themselves. The people themselves who are trapped in these lives, some of whom will say, I've made a choice. I'm here by choice. Most of whom will not say that, but then addicts don't own that, and those who are mentally ill don't own that, right? So there are many in the homelessness industry, which is a terrible word, but who will say, absolutely not, no way, shelter first, that's the only thing you need to do to save people. Well, no, because actually, the reason that we think that, the reason that we can be led to believe that is because of what we have decided to call the whole group of people who we find defecating on sidewalks and walking around wearing only a blanket in the Pearl District in Portland, which I saw yesterday. Yeah. And yelling at random passersby and having those people walk out into the street just to get away from, like, what is that? What is this situation? Why do we have a problem here? Oh, it's just a kindness to let them do that. No, it's not.
So it's not. You've got the issue of kindness, which has been weaponized. And you have the issue of misdiagnosis, the idea that the cause of homelessness is about homes. Right. And actually, maybe we should play the video which involves Michael Schellenberger interviewing people on the street. So we've invoked his name a few times. Michael Schellenberger is I'm not sure what he calls himself now. Certainly a former liberal, maybe still someone who thinks of himself as a liberal, but is not understood that way by many on the left, who is running for governor of California, is hoping to get onto the ballot for the two-way runoff in the primary that will happen on June 7th in California, where if he gets there, he would then be running against Gavin Newsom, who's the incumbent. Yes, he is an independent.
Yes.
And I believe he does consider...
But there's not much Republican presence in California, so he has a good chance, right. But he needs to come in. He needs to...
Let's come back to the election on the other side, but let's take a look at his piece here, which I think is a campaign thing, which involves his interviews.
Broad daylight, I saw someone get raped.
I've been raped, bullied, picked on, stripped naked, robbed.
Somebody get stabbed.
I mean, like someone robbed me with a machete today of all my stuff.
Hit in
the head with crowbars and bats.
I saw you get shot in the back of the head.
Somebody getting shot?
Do they live?
No.
You will end up getting hurt out here.
The other homeless people are like your worst enemy.
These people do not play out here. Besides, I have weapons. I have my protections.
Okay. What kind of weapons?
Bats, hatchets, knives, mace, tasers.
And what's your drug of choice, brother?
Heroin.
Crystal meth.
Meth and heroin?
Crystal meth.
Meth?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that doesn't smoke.
You don't know anybody that doesn't smoke meth?
No.
We saw a woman who was pregnant just now.
Yeah.
What is she smoking? She's smoking fentanyl, and she's 8 months pregnant?
Yeah.
So are you seeing more people showing up in psychotic states naked now than, say, 2-3 years ago?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know what they're putting in this stuff. I don't know if it was aliens. I'm not trying to sound crazy and stuff.
No, it's fine.
Must be causing all these like psychological breakdowns. And I think that they had put like a transmitter or something. Because I was able to hear and communicate, and it looked like I was talking to myself.
My job was to intake homeless individuals on the street.
I don't have to be on the streets. I just choose to be.
You just choose to be?
A lot of people are out here because they want to be out here.
Everyone's usually has a serious drug problem.
They kind of quit society.
This right now is literally by choice.
Did you get the sense that Pat cared whether they were on drugs or not?
No, and I'm not trying to be like crazy with it, but definitely not.
I mean, if we're gonna be realistic, they pay you to be homeless here.
They make it so easy and normalize it.
Drug dealers are just being let go over and over and over.
It's like the cops are. It's like they're your neighbor, you know?
They enable them because they allow the open air drug market.
Open street dealing like that, with the cops just across the street, like, watching them.
I think they've given up on the people that are out there on the street.
I've never seen anything like it. I've been in the game for fucking 30 years, dude. Never seen anything like it.
All right. So I want to make a couple points about what you've just seen. That's obviously a campaign ad. It's designed to persuade you, but nonetheless, you can see his interviews. And I do think we have to say something about the courage and dedication that is apparent in a candidate for governor actually spending as much time with the homeless as he clearly has to do these interviews. I've watched many of them, and he's humane about it. He treats them very decently, and they tell him things because he's obviously a genuine guy who's interested to know. But the obvious upshot is that this homelessness crisis is not about homes. It's about something else. Primarily, it's about drugs. And if you think back to the beginning of our conversation today, the problem is that
drugs and mental illness, which he separates somewhat in the book.
Yeah, it is about both. And actually, you could make drugs a subset of mental illness, because effectively what these things do is they hijack systems and they cause you to, prioritize your next high over the kind of investment that might result in you having a roof over your head. But in any case, it's powerful stuff, and it's also not his only issue.